Hey everybody, Josh Lupresto, VP of Sales Engineering here at Telarus, coming to you live from our new studio. Here with a good friend, John Marinucci, VP of Solutions Engineering for Masergy. John, welcome.
Hey Josh, how you doing today?
Good, buddy. Ready to rock and roll. So let's dive in. Let's dive in. So I want to talk a little bit about your background. Talk to me about people that don't know you. You've been in this space a long time. Talk to me about your history in this space. Let's get familiar with you.
Okay, real quick, I'm based in the suburbs of Philadelphia. I've been in the industry about 32 years. I started my career with AT&T. They put me through college. I went to Temple University, got my degrees in finance and economics. Grew up everything starting from the lowly job of telemarketing at AT&T to managing an inside sales team to being the data network account executive, managing product sales teams, and then moved over here to Masergy in 2005. I've been here 15 years. And I'm currently the VP of our solutions engineering team. I started out here as an SC, so as I like to say it, I can still get my fingernails dirty when I need to.
And I'll tell you, one of the most exciting demos, we see a lot of demos, but I don't even know how many years ago this was. Maybe this was 6 years ago, 7 years ago. The first time I sat down with Rich Giusti and he went through this demo of what Masergy has in the platform, I still remember 2 bullet points from that demo: sub 1 millisecond jitter and guaranteed 100% in-sequence packet delivery. So excited to kind of get into this with you today and learn a little bit more about Masergy. So let's dive in here. Let's talk about it. Masergy is a name that a lot of people know, but for anybody that's not familiar, can you give us a little bit of an overview? Talk about global network, perimeter, a couple of the key things, right? What are you really focusing on at Masergy?
Yeah, you started out there with the comment about, at the core, at the end of the day, the one thing that drives us and differentiates us is a global performance backbone built around MPLS infrastructure. And I know that's become somewhat of a dirty word, but the reality is at the end of the day, having a homogeneous global architecture where we rely on no other providers, we deliver all the service globally, allows us to deliver, as you mentioned, some very high SLA metrics and performance metrics. And what we do is we use that network to wrap other solutions and integrate other solutions into it. One which has become prevalent is SD-WAN, so we can integrate both an over-the-top internet solution or a hybrid solution where our network becomes a key part of that. We can integrate Northwest perimeter security solutions as part of that, so we have a security practice for both perimeter as well as cyber, internal, east-west, and a full SOC to support and monitor and respond to that service. Then finally, we made an acquisition around 2009, a BroadSoft acquisition, to where we can provide a full back-end unified communications and collaboration platform as part of the solution. And we sell them sometimes all as a complete service. Other times, individually, depending upon where the customer is in their timeline. So we like to think that we could be nimble and flexible around all things network, security, and collaboration.
Got it. And I love having you guys in the midst of these global opportunities, because I think global for a lot of people is really difficult, but you guys have, with the requirements that you have and the stringent requirements that you have when you pick up these attachment circuits, I think that talked to me, that really is how you're able to deliver some of those things that I mentioned from when Giusti and I talked years and years ago, right? You've got some high-end requirements before you'll accept these circuits, right?
Oh yeah, we have a number of things that we do as part of our vendor selection process. But again, we want to onboard people onto our network as quickly as possible. We want to get them onto that performance backbone. And like I said, some of the things you mentioned are just not feasible in legacy architectures. So we do quite a bit to make sure that we're monitoring and maintaining and vetting those last mile providers, that we have a high degree of service to maintain or get them onto our network.
Beautiful. So let's jump into SD-WAN a little bit. It's always in the conversation. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. UC, contact center, security, somehow redesigning the network comes into this conversation, and SD-WAN is that. And look, there's a lot of flavors of that. So you've got a few flavors and a few specialty niches, right, over the top, and some other things. I won't steal the thunder, but talk to me about the whole purpose of this is to get partners to understand where you fit. If they feel that there are other people that do what you do, talk to me about the flavors that you do that I think help you guys stand out.
Yeah, and what's interesting is SD-WAN is almost like cloud 10 years ago. It means different things to different people, and quite frankly, there's no standard with SD-WAN. So everybody in practice is delivering a slightly different solution. So with Masergy, we have a couple different platforms that we support, but primarily we work with a partner called Fortinet, which I think a lot of people are they're familiar with that company. allows us to deliver a variety of different solutions around SD-WAN, what we call a legacy offering, where it's just a primary integration of both private and public backbone or public and public. So different customers, as I mentioned earlier, have different needs. Some require very high performance characteristics around, let's just say, real-time voice, video, mission-critical applications, and they seek a hybrid solution where we can deliver both our backbone and the internet as a combined solution for SD-WAN. We also offer, as part of that practice, something called OTT, or over the top, where it's a pure internet play. We tend to find that for more regional, possibly retail opportunities where there is more of a concern about reliability and connectivity, we tend to deploy that solution. In every case, and this is what makes us unique, is that platform, that chassis, that Fortinet platform allows us to route effectively for integration with inside the customer's network, deliver a full SD-WAN platform that is application aware. We'll talk about some of the analytics later, but also a full UTM suite, so I can now provide a full breadth of security as part of that SD-WAN solution. And you mentioned that people look at SD-WAN or describe it differently. In a lot of cases, people don't always equate, and a lot of the solutions out there do not include any rigorous or next generation firewall practice. So that definitely differentiates us from what we deliver.
So there was a feature that I recall historically, just stepping back to the network portion of it for a second. If I take, if I build out a Masergy network and I want to change that bandwidth on the fly, how easy is that for me as a CIO, as an IT manager? What is that process like?
Matter of seconds. I mean, our portal continues to be what it's always been, whether it be a port on an SD-WAN capacity or a dedicated circuit as part of that solution. You can modify that bandwidth, see the change from cost, and implement that in about 30 seconds anywhere in the world. So it continues to be a powerful tool that we can deliver to the solution. It allows our customers to right size, right? They don't always enter in the network deployment with what their end state full deployment is going to be. So as long as the bearer channel or the circuit access will meet what they need their port speed to be, we allow them not only to move the bandwidth, but also to look at a lot of performance metrics, shadow IT, AI ops, a lot of different things that we're feeding off the WAN edge analytics to allow them to make those decisions, not just as a knee jerk, but based upon real-time analytics that we're providing to them.
Love it. I like acronyms. I have an acronym a day calendar, I think, at this point. But there's a new one out there, SASE. So it's important. Gartner feels it's important. So we, customers are going to pay attention to it. So we have to pay attention to it. So talk to me, what does it mean? Why do we need to talk about it? How are you guys competing in that space?
Yeah, so SASE in the purest form, and according to Gartner, is purely cloud-driven. And I don't know that everybody subscribed to that, and I can say that Masergy does not. If you're a pure SASE player, you're doing everything in the cloud. A lot of what we do is based upon, edge security, incorporating cloud, and also incorporating, customer services they may have that we can integrate. So we tend to look at SASE more as a platform, as a delivery architecture that includes cloud workplace, things like CASB solutions, EDR, client, network edge. So what we do is we collaborate with the client to both deliver services that we can deliver as the Fortinet fabric, some best of breed solutions, or incorporate solutions where they've made a financial investment. So it's not we rarely find that a customer wants to just move everything to the cloud. There are reasons why they want to have internet edge breakout for performance reasons, or there may be solutions that like as I mentioned, that they've already implemented and they want us to work in tandem with. So it's not always a lift and replace. So from a SASE perspective, we look at the tenets of SASE, which is to protect the cloud workplace, to protect the edge, to protect the device, and provide a uniform security platform. And probably the bigger piece, and the one thing where we differentiate ourselves in that space, is, as you know, it's not always about the tools, it's about the monitoring and the response. So we take that all, we provide a correlation engine, and we provide a full SOC function around that. So that now the customer can have all parts with us, some parts with us. We do all the integration and correlation through our security practice, our managed security practice, and deliver a full 7x24, 365 SOC as part of that solution, or can, right? So we really can put a wrapper around the whole thing. Beautiful.
It's robust. You guys cater to all the things. I think you've identified. We're going to talk about who your ideal size and target of customers are, and we see the same thing. What those size of customers and what the target customer needs. I feel like you guys have products and niches that hit those on all the things that those size of customers are going through. So it's been super helpful to have all those options in there.
Yeah, we have them, like I said, as a combined or as a modular function right now. And COVID has brought a lot of interesting dynamics into the enterprise. And a lot of them where the CIOs are looking to be transformative, one around collaboration, but always in every case around security. Everybody's moving to the edge. All the workers are remote. That changes the entire security dynamic. The conversations that we have with clients, and one where, if we're going to talk about a case where initially we started the solution design with the customer last fall, COVID hit, and suddenly everything changed, right? So the conversation went from how do we extend an SD-WAN network solution only to how do we incorporate a global security platform and compliance, now that they're moving to remote workplace, right? So you hit the nail on the head. It's important that when we look at a client and we engage, and that we don't be myopic, and that we look at what is the original reason they're coming to us, but we make sure we do proper discovery and consultation to find out what the network manager is trying to do, but then what the CIO is trying to do to be transformative during these difficult times. And the ideal customer for us is one that is willing to have that consultation, that understands the limitations of what they currently have and where they seek to be. And then we can kind of match the different service platforms, which I mentioned earlier, to what their needs are, either in a unified fashion or in a modular fashion, depending upon what their budget and their timeline is. But in every case, we always keep a keen eye on the component of security, which tends to be the one area that's lacking with most customers. One, because there's zero unemployment in that industry. It's hard to keep people. And to build and staff and correlate a security solution takes a huge investment from a build perspective. I know I said a lot there, but it kind of helps frame out how we approach the legacy deployments to what we're dealing with now in the transformative COVID period.
No, it makes sense. It's definitely changed the dynamic, and it's certainly accelerated things, and it has dramatically changed the architecture requirements for sure.
Oh, no question. Like I said, and what's important is that you get some type of advocacy from the C-levels in this, because most of the C-levels I see coming in, as I mentioned, I keep using the word, are looking to be transformative. How do we adapt and how do we respond to this current environment? They're trying to figure out how to make their employees effective, but at the same time, they understand that edge is a lot less secure than it used to be, and they need to work with a partner that can help them with that.
So let's talk a little bit, let's talk discovery process and maybe even ideal customer. So talk to me a little bit maybe first about what does a good target customer for Masergy look like? Because what we want here is if partners haven't worked with you before, they're running through their minds, looking at these videos, figuring out where everybody fits. Talk to me about who is the right customer for Masergy, either from a size, from a need perspective, and then we'll jump in a little bit to discovery.
It tends to be, the mid to large enterprise customer. I don't think they were specific to any vertical. More so in the manufacturing and the service, pharmaceutical, financial. Retail is, again, something we addressed with some of our OTT products, but typically they're going to be the mid to large enterprise that is utilizing or looking for deployment across all three platforms: network, security, unified communications, or collaboration. That has, not so much. I don't want to say that it's entirely cost driven, because that make us sound like we're trying to be boutique. But we are always looking for a scenario where they understand our value. You mentioned our tools, like our tools and the performance that we bring to the table, the collaboration that we bring to the solution, the security components, and all the things that we bring as part of our portal. So it's a mid to large enterprise across all the practices that's open to a dialogue. Most importantly, that customer needs to have an impetus for change. Where we tend to fail is when it's a spreadsheet game, and the customer is inviting 25 people to bid the lowest price and then start the conversation there. It tends to be a bad start, right? So we tend to want to understand what the functional needs are of their business, and then provide consultancy and discovery around that. Again, long-winded answer, but I hope that helps.
No, it does. It definitely does. And I think we've always found with you guys that when we find that right fit, it's a perfect fit, and you guys knock that out, right? To your point, we're never going to win. We don't win a lot of things just purely on a cost game without a discussion. The things that we do really well, we accelerate are when everybody can have a discussion and really hear the value side of that. I think you guys have so much value to add, especially for that right customer. It's a no-brainer once they look at it.
The one thing that I can add here, and Adam knows this, right, from your organization, is that we try to make what we're doing right here in this interview, and then ongoing an iterative process with your SE team and with your sales team. We've learned, and I think you guys have learned, that it's better to win quick and lose quick. Understand where we fit, do a lot of homework with one another, to understand our platform and our services, so that we're not, going after all 10 opportunities and winning 2, but going after 3 and winning 2, and improve your batting percentage, right? So things like this are really valuable to kind of whet the appetite for what we do, but then it's important that we make it iterative. And one of the things that Masergy is doing, this year is spending a lot more time aligning from an SE perspective with all the partners and agents and masters that we work with to make sure there's a comfort level, and I mean this in the kindest way, that they don't invite us to all 10, that they invite us to the 3 or 4 where we know we're going to be effective, and we understand the buying criteria, and we understand the needs of the business.
Beautiful. Let's talk about that. Let's get back to that discovery process. So we've identified who these ideal customers are based on need, based on requirements, size, things like that. When Masergy gets pulled in, what's your ideal discovery process, right? Because what I feel that we could help you with is, if we know what some of those discovery concerns are, our partners can help maybe draw that out and find customers with those needs.
Again, I mean, it's the first discovery happens with the partner, which is, to make sure we sit down and understand. Again, this happens all the time. Hey, the customer wants SD-WAN. Okay, well, why? What is they're trying to do? What's the current environment look like? So the discovery starts with the current environment. It then goes on to, when we dialogue with the customer about the business functions that they're looking to deploy, what limitations are of the current environment. And we start to have a dialogue about their geographies, about their applications, their movement to the cloud, their security posture, their collaborative tools. So it has to be, even if we're brought in to talk about one specific thing, so all these things are interrelated. And, as I mentioned before, I can tell you that from a case with one of the clients we work with, that type of discovery, and if we're allowed to talk a little bit numbers, goes from a $22,000 opportunity to now what became a $70,000, monthly recurring charge sale, only because we incorporated the dialogue with the network team and with the CIO to help understand what's the direction of M&A, what is the posture for security and compliance, what are the services that aren't working well today, what's moving to the cloud, and how can we assist with that? So the discovery really needs to be broad and far-reaching, but it also has to come off, and I think it does with Masergy, as non-sales. It's truly consultative. We're not trying to push a product. We try like hell not to even mention the products or SD-WAN or the flavors until we have a good understanding of what it is they're trying to accomplish. And then we have that dialogue to allow the solution to fit the functional need at the pace in which they want to deploy.
Those are great points too, and partners always love to hear that, to give them an idea from a size of how this thing could look. And we do see the interrelatedness all the time. I don't even think customers realize how interrelated some of these projects are, because it's siloed departments. It's everybody's struggling with the same thing, right? Everybody gets going in their lane and just goes and tries to get a project done, doesn't realize this department over here is going to be severely impacted if we don't do this right now, today, and tomorrow. And what we can all draw out of this is that with those interrelated projects, not only are you adding a ton of value for that customer and solidifying a relationship with multiple stakeholders in that customer, but that MRC just keeps growing and growing and growing. And that's what partners want too, right? They want the long-term MRC. They want to know that when they sell this, it's going to be something long-term that's going to grow and grow and grow. And you guys have constantly shown that.
And if I could add, the one thing that it also does from a CIO perspective, it provides a lot more, buying or cost of ownership impetus for change, because a lot of what we do is you start to look at the different services that we can deliver. It collapses the architecture from a customer's perspective. So a lot of CapEx and a lot of disciplines that they're supporting in tandem can be collapsed into one managed service. So we tend to look at, from a competitive perspective, at speeds and feeds and hardware. But the reality is there's a huge opportunity cost in migrating a lot of administrative cost and capital and hardware cost into an integrated solution. So that dialogue not only allows us to collapse and integrate the solution, but allows the customer to look at retiring CapEx and admin that maybe they want to move out of the business into a managed service. So it works, for both sides.
And that's a good point. And we're seeing a lot of this lately. We were even seeing this before COVID, but COVID has accelerated this, just that companies are attempting to grow and they're being careful with how they do staffing. And so the need for collapsing and consolidating and having some of that outsource expertise, I feel now is stronger than it's ever been. So if you can come in with well, yeah, we do this, but we also do this and this and this, and we can help you there, they're going, thank you, finally, right? We need that help. We're just so constrained right now. So it's huge. That's a huge value add.
Particularly when you talk about a security practice where, again, there's zero unemployment. In a lot of cases, the customer, their security guys, their network guy, or their voice guy. It's not 7x24, 365. It's not always on. It's not always watching. And it's not responding to behavioral type patterns that a human couldn't see. So again, we bring that all to the table. And again, that's where you see the eyes pop open in a meeting when you've got a CIO or a network manager that he's got to take that call at 3 a.m. You mean I can stop doing that? You mean you guys can pick up on an anomaly in my network at 3 a.m. and respond or shun command to my firewall? You can take action on that when I'm asleep. It's pretty powerful. And then we can do it at a cost that's, 1/10 of what it would cost for them to hire and build that solution on their own. So it's pretty powerful stuff.
So as we wrap this up, I want to recap a little bit about all the things that we talked about, make sure I didn't miss anything. So we talked about the global network. We talked about positioning in you medium to large enterprise, talked about UCaaS, talked about the Fortinet and the SD-WAN flavors over the top, part of the global network, talked about the massive security play that you guys have from a SOC perspective, managing that, talked about a lot of great things. So as we talk about all those, and if we look forward a little bit, we generally know that some of these larger deals take time. So if we look in our little crystal ball for the next, what's to come for Masergy for the next 3, 6, 9 months as partners are walking into these large deals, what can we expect to see out of Masergy? Product enhancements, integrations, new things to come that you want to talk about and share with partners so they're aware?
Well, there's a few things. I'll start with, from a portal perspective, we continue to deliver a high degree of analytics and AI intelligence through our portal. We think that's critical that we continue to do that. It provides our customer, and we do this as a service as part of our SD-WAN. It's not an additional functional or cost to do it. We want to make sure that we deliver, deep analytics to our clients so that they can make the right decisions about what's happening on their network. The other thing you can expect to see from an SD-WAN perspective is the continued evolution of both, how we deliver security around that, but also the SASE tenants. So we're going to be launching some products around what we will call a power user or a work from anywhere type user solution to the home. We're going to be looking at things like EDR, endpoint detection and response to secure the device in that solution. And we'll be looking both at solutions as part of the Fortinet fabric. I think some of our competitors have said we're dependent upon Fortinet. We absolutely love them. They're a great partner, but we don't just subscribe to their services. So we look to other clients or other services to deliver an EDR solution. So we're going to continue to expand the SASE play as part of SD-WAN. From a collaboration and UC perspective, we've had tremendous success with our integration with MS Teams. And I would encourage, any of your folks working with clients that are Microsoft based, one of the areas that Masergy is effective is in delivering collaboration solutions around MS Teams, reducing the cost of licensing, LD plans, PBX deployment. We do it all in the cloud through our BroadSoft platform. But going forward, we're going to deepen our relationship, or our collaboration, our support of the APIs for MS Teams, and deliver, power user type functions for MS Teams. So the portal, some things around SD-WAN, the SASE tenants, and collaboration tools specifically around MS Teams are all going to make, dramatic improvements and expand the product offering and portfolio over the next 3 to 6 months.
Love it. We covered some good ground. I think we dove into the platform, and we've talked about a lot of interesting things throughout the portfolio, and I hope we've given partners a pretty good idea of, if they weren't familiar now, where you really play going forward. So appreciate it. Here with John Marinucci, VP of Solutions Engineering for Masergy. John, thanks for being on, buddy.
Been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Okay, partners, season 2, stay tuned. More to come, but thanks for tuning in today as part of our engineering deep dive here today with Masergy. Till next time.